The night the league's biggest rivals finally spoke, it wasn't on the ice. It was in a quiet hallway behind the arena, where the roar of the crowd sounded like a storm through concrete. One of them had just taken a hit that looked routine until he didn't get up. Cameras caught the glare, the chirps, the history. But they didn't catch what happened next. The rival who'd sworn to hate him stepped in front of the trainers, blocked the door, and said, "You're not doing this without me." This is an alternate season of heated rivalry, where the feud doesn't burn out. It turns into a pact. And that pact changes everything. The rivalry had always been clean on paper. Two superstars, two teams, two cities that wanted blood. Every season, the highlight reels loved the same ingredients: big goals, bigger grudges, and that split-second stare after the whistle. But this year, the league added something new: a pilot program. Mandatory joint media tours to improve sportsmanship. Translation? Put them on the same plane, the same schedule, the same microphones, and pray nothing explodes. The first meeting happened in a private lounge. No teammates, no cameras. Just two chairs, a table, and an iced bucket of water nobody touched. They sat like enemies negotiating borders. And then the door locked. Accident or message? Either way, they were stuck together. "So," one of them said, voice flat as tape on a stick, "we doing this, or are we pretending we don't exist?" The other didn't answer right away. He watched the locked door, then the security camera in the corner. "If you're trying to start something," he said, "pick a better room." The silence that followed wasn't peaceful, it was tactical. Two minds running plays, two egos waiting for the first mistake. And then, a tiny sound. The lock clicked again, but the door didn't open. Power outage. The lights dipped, then steadied into emergency mode. In the sudden dimness, their reflections merged in the window. Two rivals, one outline. "Looks like the universe wants a conversation." "Or a warning," the other replied. Neither of them laughed, but both of them listened. The conversation didn't start with feelings. It started with leverage. The league's new program came with contracts, behavior clauses, sponsor demands, and penalties that could bench a star for conduct detrimental. "They're using us," one of them said, "selling a feud, then selling the apology tour." The other leaned back, finally taking a sip of water like it was a dare. "Then we control the narrative." That was the first time the word "we" appeared between them without sarcasm. They drafted a plan in half sentences. No cheap shots, no public bait, no giving reporters anything sharp to hold. It sounded simple. It wasn't. Because the moment the door opened and the hallway noise rushed in, the old habit returned. Shoulders squared, jaw set, eyes narrowed. But now there was a secret underneath. A truce with teeth. The first test came fast. A nationally televised game. Packed arena. Playoff energy in October. Every time one of them touched the puck, the crowd reacted like a living thing. Late in the second period, a defenseman clipped a knee. Not dirty, just wrong place, wrong speed. The star went down hard. The arena inhaled as one. Trainers jumped the boards. The bench stood. And the rival was already there, waving people back, clearing space with a controlled fury. "Give him room." It wasn't a heroic speech. It was instinct. Protect the game, protect the player. Cameras caught it, of course. Social media lit up with theories. But in the tunnel afterward, when the injured star tried to stand and nearly folded, the rival's hand caught his elbow, steady and wordless. The truce had just become real. The medical room smelled like antiseptic and melted ice. The injured player sat on the table, jaw clenched, a brace being fitted. "You didn't have to do that," he muttered. The rival's reply came soft, almost annoyed at himself. "Yeah, I did." Outside, executives hovered, suits pretending to be concerned while calculating headlines. Inside, the two stars spoke in code. "They want a story," the injured one said. "So we give them one. Not a romance, not a feud, something harder to sell. Respect, partnership, control." They agreed to a single rule. In public, they'd be professional. In private, they'd be honest. The injury meant weeks off ice, rehab, quiet days. And for the first time, their lives had room for conversations that weren't shouted over crowds. Rehab turned into a strange routine. Same facility, same early hours. The rival started showing up by coincidence, always with an extra resistance band, always with a comment that sounded like an insult until you listened closely. "Your form is terrible. And you're here because I hate watching bad hockey." They pushed each other, one counting reps, the other demanding breaks at the right time, both pretending it was nothing. Then came the day the injured star snapped. "Stop hovering. I'm not your project." The rival didn't flinch. "No, you're my problem." The room went silent except for the low hum of fluorescent lights. That was the first honest sentence either of them had said in years. It didn't fix everything, but it cracked the armor. With the armor cracked, the past started leaking through. They talked about the first time they met, how a single comment in a rookie interview became a decade of escalation. "I didn't even mean it like that," one admitted. The other stared at the floor, voice low. "I built my whole edge around it." The truth was ugly and simple. The rivalry had been a tool. Coaches loved it, fans fed it, sponsors printed it on banners. And they had used it too, because anger is a fuel that never asks questions. But now a different fuel was showing up. Not softness, not surrender. Clarity. They started watching game tape together, not to mock, to learn. They found patterns, weaknesses, little tells. And when one of them said, "If you shift your weight earlier, you'll beat that goalie every time," it landed like a gift. Then the league pushed too far. A leaked email hit the internet. Executives discussing how to maximize the rivalry arc by scheduling them back to back, feeding reporters planted questions, even hinting at disciplinary traps. It read like a script, except they were the characters, not the authors. They met in a parking garage at midnight, away from cameras and teammates. "They're setting us up," one said. The other's voice was steel. "Then we burn their script." They didn't plan revenge. They planned exposure. A joint statement, calm, factual, undeniable. They'd speak together after the next game, on live TV, no PR filters. It was risky, careers risky. But for once, the fear wasn't of losing. It was of going back to being puppets. And neither of them could stomach that anymore. Game night arrived like a verdict. The injured star returned to the lineup, taped up, eyes bright, skating like the ice owed him answers. The rival across the red line looked the same as always, composed, lethal, impossible to read. But beneath the helmets, they shared a glance that lasted half a second too long. The game was brutal and beautiful, clean checks, fast hands, momentum swinging like a door in the wind. In the third period, tied score, a scrum broke out in front of the net. Sticks tangled, gloves grabbed jerseys. The crowd begged for a fight. And then they both stepped back, at the same time, refused the bait. That refusal hit the arena louder than any punch. The cameras searched for the usual hate and found control. The horn sounded. One of them scored in overtime. Neither celebrated in the other's face. After the game, the broadcast desk expected fireworks. They got something else. Two rivals standing shoulder to shoulder, still sweating, still wired, still dangerous, just no longer weaponized. They spoke calmly about the leaked email, about manufactured narratives, about what it costs athletes to be marketed like conflict machines. Reporters tried to twist it. They didn't take the bait. "We compete," one said, "but we're not here to be played." The response was immediate. Fans arguing, pundits scrambling, executives silent. But in the days that followed, something shifted. Fewer cheap shots, less circus coverage, more respect for the actual game. The two stars didn't become best friends overnight. They didn't swap jerseys and cry on camera. They became something rarer in pro sports. Equals who chose integrity over spectacle. And that choice, that's what finally cooled the rivalry into something unbreakable. If you want more alternate universe sports stories like this, where rivalry turns into strategy and strategy turns into connection, subscribe for the next episode. Drop a comment with the moment you think the truce became irreversible. The hallway lock, the injury, the midnight garage meeting, or the overtime restraint. And if you've got a different twist you'd love to see, new teams, new stakes, a new season-long challenge, say it. I'll build the next cinematic version around your idea. Because the best stories aren't just about who wins the game. They're about who finally decides they're done being predictable. See you in the next one.